What is up, motherpluckers? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to use a loop pedal. Now there are loads of loop pedals out there. I myself am going to be using the Boss RC300 in this video, but every loop pedal at its core does the same thing. They have a start-stop function that allows you to record a loop and then record something over the top of that, hence the name loop pedal. So this tutorial doesn't need a specific type of loop pedal. It will just cover the functionality from the basics of getting started through to some more advanced sort of songwriting techniques, okay? So before we get stuck in, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos. Click that little bell. And if you really like what's going on down here, make sure you follow the links to Patreon in the description, and then you can find loads of exclusive sheet music and lessons there. Anyway, let's get going, shall we? Oh, Step one is the basics, how to actually get started. So, like I said before, every loop pedal has a start-stop function. It's going to sound like this. And as you can see, we've started looping. And then stop. And start again. Yeah. Huh. And stop. What it also allows you to do is to then record over it. Got it? Good. Okay, so how do you actually do that, I hear you asking me? Let's take most popular music. We're looking at 4/4 time signature. You're counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to hit the start function of the loop pedal, so tap your loop pedal with your foot on the count of 1. And you're going to do it at the exact same time as you start playing. So your foot and your playing hands are going to happen at exactly the same time. Then you're going to record your loop, and then once you finish your loop, you're obviously going to press stop. But this has to marry up with the time signature that you're playing in. So if we're counting to 4, then you need to play for all 4 beats. Let me demonstrate for you now. So I'm just going to play an A note on my ukulele. Have a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play. 2, 2, 3, 4. Stop. So you can see there, I started playing exactly at the same time as I hit the loop pedal, and I stopped playing exactly at the end of that bar. So then the loop becomes seamless. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now this in itself takes a lot of practice. I have been looping for years, and I have done plenty of loops that are out of time. So if you do this exercise and you're finding it difficult to keep in time, it's just a case of persevering and keeping on going with it. So you might accidentally hit them out of sync, and it might sound like this. You can hear there we've got that little jolt. So just persevere with it and practice. That's the first step. Playing in time and having an idea of what you're going to be looping. So I would suggest starting with just one note on your instrument, if it's a ukulele or guitar, bass, drums, whatever, and just practice looping that and getting that in time. Then building up the difficulty of what you're playing. So for example, once I'm comfortable with just the one note, I can maybe look at 2 notes. And that's just a quick little 4-beat phrase. You could then look at extending the amount of beats that you're looping on. So doing it for 8 beats, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, not bad, okay? And this is really going to help improve your sense of timing as well. So you're being your own metronome here. Okay then, so step 2, we're going to look at starting recording some different parts that complement each other. So chord and melody. Okay, so you're going to record a basic chord progression. So let's use A minor, G, and C. Why not? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that's in time. That's sounding good. So I've recorded the chord part underneath. Now this allows me to then experiment with writing a melodic part on top, or even just play around with improvising. So for example, when you're happy with what you're experimenting with, start recording. And suddenly you're making music. Now this is a really good songwriting exercise, because if you've got something like a chord progression that you want to write a melody over or just sing over or freestyle over, you have the opportunity to do that by yourself. It's also a great improvisation exercise. So if you want to practice some lead playing or some soloing, you can do that. So if I again put in a very sort of simple kind of bass line. Nice. So I know I'm in the key here of B minor. So then I can start using and start improvising using lead playing. And this is a really great example of how you can utilize this pedal to improvise and develop your musicianship, as well as something like songwriting. Okay, so step 3, we start looking at orchestrating a song, and maybe this is used to do a cover song, a loop cover, or even to write your own song and perform it yourself. So we start looking at replicating other instruments with whatever you're using. So a drum beat, a bass line, chords, and some lead playing. Now the thing to remember when you start doing things like this is, depending on what kind of loop pedal or loop station you have, all of your loops have to be the same length. So for example, if I was to play a drum beat that was only 4 beats long, then everything else would have to be 4 beats. Let me demonstrate for you first of all, right? 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So I'm limited to those 4 beats. So let's say I tried to play a bass line that was more than 4 beats long. It would overlap and start to sound a bit confusing. Here we go. A 1, 2, buttery biscuit bass line. You see now, they've overlapped, and that's not quite working. Now, some loop stations have the ability to do lots of loops at different lengths, but we're going to keep it simple for now. So making sure that whatever loops you record, they are all the same length. So I'm going to do 8 beats of a drum loop and then build it up from there. Now I'm going to use a ukulele percussion style here. If you're new to that kind of concept, make sure you follow the link here. And you can watch my ukulele percussion tutorials because they can be really handy for looping, and it saves you hiring a drummer as well. Okay, so let's put a drum loop in first. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. And then a bass line. Hey. Good. So now we've got the rhythm section. We've got the bass, we've got the drums. And then you could pop some chords on top. Okay, so I'm going to be using D minor, C, B flat, A7. Okay, I'm going to wait for it to start again. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Nice. And suddenly I've got music. Okay? But there's still plenty of time, plenty of room for me to put some lead in. So I could improvise. Improvisation could use a bit of work there. Or I could put a lead line in. Maybe, I don't know, but it allows you to try out ideas and experiment. So if I put the loop on again and have that lead line, that's clashing with some of the chords, and I think it kind of gets in the way. Have a listen. 2. You hear it's kind of getting in the way a bit. So what I can do is I can obviously remove that. So with my loop station, I press and hold the record pedal. I press and hold the record pedal, and that allows me to undo the previous loop. But so it really gives you the opportunity to play around and experiment with some of these kinds of ideas and concepts. So what I think I'll do is I'll take that idea but I think I'll move it down in line with the chords. Let's have a listen. And I think that's working a lot better. So you can really experiment, and all the while you're doing this, you're improving your musicianship. You're improving your timekeeping, your composition, your scales, your theory knowledge. All of these things are a really good way to develop your looping skills, but also your skills as a musician. Okay, so step 4, and the final thing I want to touch on in this video, is using all of what I've just shown you alongside effects and utilizing these effects to further build a song or inform an improvisation or something like that. So again, I've got loads of different effects on my pedal here. So I've got a bit of delay first of all, so you get that nice echoey style repeat. I've got some really ridiculous reverb. So it's like I'm sort of in a big church building cathedral. I've got a nice bit of distortion. Oh, it sounds nasty, I love it. And I've got some chorus as well. And I've also got a bit of low octave for the bass kind of sound. So what's really handy here is you can experiment with these different kinds of sounds. So I can again start off with a drum beat. And then I can put some bass over it. Then I can get some nice sort of plinky chords. With some delay, which is really nice. And then out the window there. But you can obviously undo it or start again and experiment with those ideas. I've been looping for years and I still make those mistakes, but that's fine. That's all part of the process. So there you go, folks. There is a quick loop pedal tutorial for you. Let me know how you got on with it in the comments and if there are any more specific types of ukulele tutorial that you want me to make. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.